And you are live, good sir.
Did I just lag?
Yeah, I think
Live.
it lagged a little bit as we
Oh my
launched.
gosh.
Oh man, this is a rough start.
This is it's been a false start on the offense. So
We're
some
trying to get it going.
penalties on myself for not doing the
It's the
job
update.
Sunday.
It's the never ending update, man. It's the life of a creative. I totally empathize. That's why I understand.
I don't like it.
It never stops.
I know. I know. It is. It's
Hey, that's
unfortunate.
a parallel with life, is it not? You
Yeah.
always got to be updating, man. You can't sit stagnant. You can't let the updates stack up because when you get hit with the need for the update, the reason they gave you the update, oh man, maybe.
Yeah. Probably. There's probably some truth to that. And that's why I told you is like we didn't do the show on Sunday,
Yeah,
insiders, and so I definitely didn't get it tuned up on Sunday. Having it go in every Wednesday, every Sunday for the last several months, for sure, just at least for this purpose,
yeah.
has kept it on the up and up, so to say. Uh,
Either way, well,
yeah, we are now becoming more excited to be here again
yes, yes.
today.
You're getting
Man,
pumped up. You're back in the lane, back in the groove.
it feels good
Because
because yeah,
hey, Mama, we made it. Like there's some big jujitsu news out there.
yeah, we're on the internet. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah. So for the people that aren't in the know and haven't been paying attention to everything, I honestly I've been pretty surprised by how saturated the news was as quickly as it was, because in the beginning of the PGF, it kind of felt like we were just screaming into a void, and people were oh, what is this thing? It's like, oh, this thing we've been doing for 5 seasons. You have no idea what it is. Now, I mean, dude, we got street recognition. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
What's the big news? You know more than me of what is allowed to be said. I just
Why?
sit and listen. I don't know. I feel like that you pay better attention in these meetings.
So here's a funny joke. I was not in the meeting the other day, Keelan. They said the beef is just getting
It's
like
just getting deeper.
more ground beef, just
Does it
like
make you feel any better that I'm not even in the group chats until like the night of the season most of the time?
well, yeah, no. I told you that the other day. Like seeing you suffer doesn't make me like feel better. I don't get joy from watching my friends in pain. You know, I,
Okay.
I, I don't want to see that. Um, but it was like I don't know. We're doing things differently, right? Things are being done different as far as like releasing information, like you said, and then also there part of that is the reason why you saw the blitz. I think the way it was is because it's not just being told one little thing at a time, kind of as it comes up and different things like that. You go and get to um, like a place where you have enough like information stacked up, so that way you could have a long running kind of set of things, and then everybody knows it's coming. There's anticipation for it and stuff. But what's
Yeah.
happening is the PGF is doing the very first, well, not the very first, I guess, but it's the first bigger one where it's going to the original format where it's a season, a true season, not a week where you're going to be staying in one spot having to watch 4 hours of jujitsu for 5 nights a week or whatever that is in the same week, and then looking to get through the playoffs and everything. um is going to go to one one block, I guess, essentially, or one night of 3 blocks per week.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure exactly like the day. I'd have to look at whatever the July 23rd is, I guess, because that's the first day of the
That's the
regular
first day.
season.
Yeah.
The draft is June 25th still, so that's been something that's been pretty steady for a while. Um, the regular season starts July 23rd, and then the playoffs are September 10th. So there'll be one night per
Every
week.
week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
um to do like the 3 blocks, I guess. Like I gotta, like I said, I gotta get more 100% kind of information on all that stuff. But it'll be a weekly event again. And that's what
That's the
season
way I
one.
understand that it would be the 3 blocks each week, because that would be 150 fights over the whole uh season.
And I think they're adding in one more
Extra.
day. That way
Okay.
that nobody misses anyone.
So that everybody sees everybody in the
There's,
bracket.
there's enough time
Yeah, yeah.
with that so that you don't add another like day into the same week to
Right.
make everybody kind of hit everybody. So
Yeah.
doing that is going to make it really different in lots of ways. I think maybe hopefully you'll see less injury issues that are big uh,
Yeah.
in that way because guys can play longer and maybe get a little time off in between uh, those matches. You know what I mean? You get a little recovery or a lot of recovery probably if you're smart going a week between the next three matches like that.
Well, and playing smart.
Yeah, you'll know who they are long before you go in there. It's not like I show up, draft. Here's a list of names all of a sudden that I got to get ready for. Oh man, oh no, here wait, I got to fight him that day, and so it just kind of gets lost in the shuffle a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think there'll be a lot of different strategies and things like that that'll come into play now with it being the season with that longer format. And I think from what I've heard so far from everybody, lots of people favor this because they will be able to keep up with it. They can watch it whenever, kinda throughout the week, uh, and we'll be able to watch basically all of it instead of having to kind of catch up.
Instead of
You know,
being behind when you're already a week through, because only the hardcores can spend 8 hours a day for a
yeah,
week
and they don't
consuming jujitsu.
hardly
Yeah.
want to do that either.
Yeah.
For most
Yeah.
part.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's pretty cool. It's going to allow for a lot more, you know, media to come in and like cover things. I think not necessarily come in live to do it, but there'll be time to do stuff. Um, like we talked about doing this on set if there was an opportunity, because I think there was somebody had said Wednesday one time about the day of the week maybe. And
Yeah.
so we're like, yeah, if that's the case, then we should probably try to do this there on set, which would be pretty dope. I feel like, and would be a good way to you know lead into the night or whatever for that week. Um, so yeah, there's just a lot of opportunity I think that comes with that. Um, there's other things that I don't know. Like I said, I only kind of know what's been released in that way. I don't
Yeah.
know what else is true or not true for sure. Uh,
Everything else from here on out is allegedly.
well, so that's that. I'm just not going to get into too many of the allegedlys.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but some guys are going to definitely be staying in Vegas for the 6 weeks or whatever time it is to get through the whole process. We've, I think, lost some people maybe who are going to be able to do the full week if they
Yeah.
went and stayed for the week, but some
Yeah.
people aren't able to make that commitment to be out
Repeated.
there
Yeah.
yeah, which is fair. Uh,
Well,
without
and as it grows and it starts doing different things, I mean, think about it from a professional like sports aspect of, there's plenty of guys. I won't name any names because I don't know names that well in other sports, but like there's football players that they live in Montana, but they play for the Miami Dolphins, and during
yeah,
football season they go to Miami and they're in Miami during football season. During the
yeah.
off season, they're out in Montana hunting elk.
So yeah, I think that's
BMAC himself is in the chat.
something more in line. Oh, I don't read the comments.
No, I know, but
So
I'm producing over here, my dude. What up,
no, I'm just
Brandon?
what up, dude? But it's really exciting to be going to this format. I think because, like I said, it'll allow more time to play and like get more stuff in. We'll all be a little bit more prepared. I feel like, and again, y'all can do y'all's jobs better with the editing parts of it and getting those clips out in a less frantic kind of manner. Like you'll still be doing that every day, like you would, but you don't have to do it one day at a time, kind of. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it spreads it out to where you can kind of cook. I mean, from
You can give more
the
to each day.
yeah, it's hard. There's so much that goes missed when it's so condensed like that. It's the same as the competing. That like there's a lot that gets lost in the sauce because you're trying to move so fast.
Yep.
That's the Brandon just said, more time to fall in love with the athletes like that. Like it gives you more time to tell the stories. It gives you more time to like spread out and like understand what's going on and it not be like a super like big surprise when something happens. Like there's the build up, there's the season, there's people can tune in. I remember that in your season, in season 2, when there was the weekly release, like it built up a different like fan base because
Yeah,
everybody would get together on Friday night and everybody'd
true.
watch. Like it's a more communal, real sport like feel to it.
No, and I didn't even really kind of think about that way, but that's true. There was a lot of that. It felt like, at least for us, we kind of pressed that, a lot, and I think having it where it's live also essentially in that way would make those nights even
More
more fun.
special. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, because
because
you're experiencing that is live sports. I mean,
mhm,
that's why like no matter how good AI gets or how great these things, like for a long time, live sports is still going to dominate in the aspect of like entertainment because you don't know what's going to happen.
that's why you
We
play
have
the game.
that's why we're all watching. That's why we're playing
Mhm.
the game. That's why like that's why people love live sports is because of the unpredictability of it.
Yeah, some people
And
love to see the dominating whatever it is player person go out there and just dominate, and most people would like to see the person who's underdog or has some sort of struggle that they are overcoming, whether that be in the match or something that's in the story that you got to know them
their
about.
personal
Because right,
life, yeah,
so,
yeah.
so people you
Struggle.
right, exactly,
It's
you
the
don't have to
human
be.
story. It's what we're all attracted
Yeah,
to because
some
we
people love
identify
number
with
one,
it.
right,
Yeah,
but a lot of people just love a person who's playing, that they can relate to their story and they can, follow along with that in a general kind of way. And that's also what sports allow, with that kind of setting, with the teams and the players coming together and doing it, like that. And so I think that's probably going to be part of what happens with this thing eventually, is that if these guys are already kind of, there's a group of guys that are already kind of doing this, moving to one spot to be together, even though they're not even like on the same team yet. I think that's going to be an interesting thing to see if we can maybe start getting teams together, and not even necessarily like by a city, name even, or whatever, but just like, this is this team, and we get to, like you said, we get together wherever the base camp is for us, and then we go, from there. So I don't know. It's crazy to kind of consider all the possibilities now. Uh, how much time do you spend though, kind of doing all that stuff though, like
do
prompt
it, do
to prompt it and do it? Like I might need some AI tips.
it. Is that
Oh,
Brandon was saying that live sports is the last thing that'll stay alive after AI takes us all down. He said, AI can think for me, it can write for me, it can plan for me, but it can never strangle Isaac for me. I agree with you on that. I don't think that AI's figured out jujitsu quite yet.
I think it could definitely come up with a few ways based on its knowledge of the PGF.
Oh no.
We've fed it a bunch of information, Brandon, about the PGF. I believe my Chat GPT would finish Isaac multiple times.
I hate all y'all.
I mean, if we
Hey,
just
if the AI comes in and buys my NFT, then all right.
look, a lot of my that's what I say. I've talked to the AI overlords a lot about the PGF from my perspective, which is really interesting because it's gotten it from, I'm sure, lots and lots and lots of other people's perspectives too, and mine, ties in a lot with the storylines and different, things like that. Is like, I talk about the rules stuff with people, and am in meetings with referees and talk to them about stuff like that, just like because I like to and it's fun and I'm allowed to. But that's not really like what I do. What I do is try to write, intros and walkouts and think of funny, but also like good things. Just, so it's got like a creative look at it. And so, as somebody who died 42 times in the week, is something that it needed to know,
It,
like that
it has
character
to know the
exists.
information. It's
Right.
it's
Yeah.
part of the story arc.
Hmm. You're you're not the only one. So
Well, hey, no, that you said earlier about like going into a full season, how like it's going to play on these injuries. I think that two things are going to happen because I noticed this weekend at the tournament that we ran on PGF rules is that like guys are starting to get really smart about the fact, and especially if you have to play a full season, like you have to play months. Maybe you can get through the week on the adrenaline, or you can get through a day like they discovered during the week long one. You're not going to make it through a whole season if you know, blow something out in the first 2 weeks. And so I feel like that you start seeing the guys playing smart and you see them like acting like professional athletes. Like you said, recovery. They get done on Wednesday, and the first thing they're doing on Thursday is they're going and getting their acupuncture and getting their ice baths and doing all that stuff so that they can play again next week. Because like I do understand and empathize with the athletes on the fact that like getting done on Monday night and being like, all right, see y'all again same time tomorrow. Like,
Let's go.
like that's an insane proposition. And so like it will go down as like a very unique part of the history, but longevity wise, I think that this like the longer season gives not only the viewers more time, the like culture more time to absorb it, but like even just the athletes just to absorb what's happening to them. And so your veterans can get like even better because they start learning how to expand that tactic they used over 1 week. Now you use it over 12.
Yeah, and I think basically you're kind of onto something there too. And it's a mental game already,
Yeah.
but it's different in the way that I think it'll be coming up, and so I think it'll become a more mental game, as in it'll be smarter. Everybody
Yeah.
will be a lot smarter with how they play it. Um, but also one thing, again, diving into all the baseball world and everything that I've been looking at and stuff, like hearing a lot of those guys talk about it. For the major league players, there's a 162 game season, and they play that in about 185 days. And so it becomes that kind of grind
Yeah.
too, to where you got to just show up every day, And so that's what I say is like they're still doing a lot of every day, every day, every day. But a lot of those days are travel days too. So they're
Yeah.
having to travel and do all that other stuff too. And so for this, every week, coming back every week, is going to
Learning
be
how to stay in that space.
how, right?
Yeah.
And then you can't let things affect you that are happening elsewhere during the season, because if it does, then you'll see your performance slip, which is it's all different at that point too. That's what I'm saying. So it's really interesting, and I wonder what kind of player is going to be showing up a lot more to these at first.
Yeah, what's the first type, like personality type that like excels at this?
Right, because
Yeah.
again, we've seen lots of different guys do okay here,
Does
and and,
does the
and then become better.
Elijah character hold up over 12 weeks? Or and I mean I'm sure he does. Like the people I think that the guys that have been most dominant in the PGF rule set have been the most adaptable ones. The ones that just roll with the punches and understand, okay, well, this is how we're doing it.
Yeah.
And I think that initial surge is going to be the guys that are adaptable.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's gonna give it a different feel and dynamic, but I think it'll be a lot more, like I said, probably not. I don't want to say well done, because it was pretty done. I like the way it was
It could
done.
be more
It
professional.
was fun. You know what I mean, that way.
Yeah.
But I think that there's a lot more that comes with this pace
Yeah.
of play, and stretching it out. Like I say, adding that extra time in, so everybody does touch everybody at least. On the other teams, that's a nice touch, I think. And because there's always that little bit of I wonder what if kind of thing. Um, so it's just another evolution of the game, which again I think is a great one.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see it. I think this will allow everybody, again, more time for the referees and officials to review calls from week to week and talk about things, and have everything just kind of polished, and be able to even make releases, or about certain things, and be like, hey, da 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 about,
From now on,
you
this is
know
the new
this is a
we
new
after evaluation of and
right,
talking to our advisors and yeah.
and then some of those calls Brandon has had to kind of make in
On
the
the fly. He
in the
doesn't have to
moment.
do it on the
Yeah,
fly.
you get
Yeah.
a chance to think about it with the other rules, members or whoever
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
is involved in that, or the coaches can kind of maybe have. I don't know. That's it. It just gives time for things to breathe, which I think is
Yeah.
great. And
Yeah.
it goes.
Professionalism. It's
Yeah.
more of a professional sport now.
So yeah, it's exciting. I'm excited. It's going to be a lot different, but I think I don't know, man. It's hard to say. It's like, getting ready to go for a full week and like getting everything that it takes to be ready to go there and do it for a full week for me is a lot. It's a lot of luggage. It's a lot of stuff to take for a whole week at one time. Mentally, it's a lot to be gone from my family, for like that whole time, kind of. Also at the same time, so this for me will kind of cut down on a lot of the kind of stress that goes into it for me. If I travel, I'll only need to carry like a suit or two, maybe with some extra pants, or something like
Right.
that. Just because you know, if you know, you know. Uh, so we'll have some extra pants and stuff for sure, but like much lighter in general. Traveling, I
Yeah.
can kind of be ready to go when I go. I don't have to like take all my shaving kit and my all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
you can just hit the barber on the way out of town. Be ready for the show. Hit the show. Catch you again next week.
Yep, and just kind of turn and burn,
Yeah. Yeah.
which again takes away a little bit of the kind of fun of the hominess of it in some ways, but it's
Yeah.
not
I mean,
because
like
it's
it
gonna
was
allow.
like a summer camp with the homies. Like it was
Yeah,
a
there was
week
that version.
long. Yeah. 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 That'll be an era. And
Yeah,
there, I mean, and even the UFC does things like the International Fight Week and stuff like that. I would imagine as this grows, like there will be like festivals that are like in the PGF, and like we'll have like that same vibe at some point.
yeah.
But
I think there's a lot of time that we'll still get together. I'd say it's like it's just gonna make it a
different.
different
Yeah.
kind of animal there because
Yeah.
we were really busy the whole week anyway. So there was some
Yeah.
hanging out, but it was really a lot of work the whole time, basically. Even though
Yeah.
that kind of deal. So when you like the people you're working with, it's
It
fun.
makes it more fun.
So
It makes it
yeah,
more tolerable. And that's, I
it
mean,
made it.
that's the
Yeah, well,
thing.
it didn't suck. That's the
Yeah.
thing because everybody was cool and we enjoyed doing it together. So it made it like fun.
Right.
So
Well, and we got like I keep coming back to the word like professionalism is that like it got kind of launched on us in 2 seasons ago where it was all of a sudden that like these were jobs. Like you have a job to do, which we always treated it as such. So it wasn't that much of a weird switch until it became like that. And it was a little bit of like oh wait, this is actually like work. And it's like this stuff for the athletes switching into this. Like I keep saying, is that professional athletes, professional football players, professional race car drivers or whatever, there's certain things they do to be ready for the season and they need time to do such. And so like now we kind of have that like structure where they have that time to build into a career and have like a thing because like the week long thing's cool and making like chunks of money here and there are cool, but that's still prize fighting. That's still the same life that the fighters have lived for. I mean, how long? I mean, okay, paid combat sports has been a thing for eons, but it, it's it's hard to like model it in a way that's a career for a large number of people versus like a small number of like number ones if it's constantly just like you're living off your winnings. I mean, like even boxers find other ways to get rich other than just boxing for some extent. I don't know. There's some big pots out there these days for boxing, but you know what I'm saying is that like even those guys, even Mayweather has a pile of other things professionally that he's doing, and then the fighting's just part of that mixture. Whereas like I see professional grappling going to the route of a professional sport as far as the football players or the baseball players or the whatever, because that that's
that's
all
the
you do
push.
for that season.
I mean, that's the push. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like I think that this is all super exciting. Like
Well, and I think it
super.
does allow to in that way though. It might and should. I don't know. I guess whatever. This will remain to be seen, but it's an interesting thought you just brought up to my mind. Uh, it would allow people to not have to be exclusive.
Yeah.
Maybe. they could take during the off season here, since it'll be one season per
Yeah,
year, or
yeah, yeah.
they can do what if they need
Other
to recover,
shows
they
or
can
whatever.
recover, or whatever it is. You'll have plenty of time to recover, or like you say, you can focus on getting better, or
Okay, I
doing
want to go play
executing
ADCC
another
rules, or I
show.
want to go play. Yeah,
You know? Exactly. Like you can do
I
the
want to go
winter
make a
league or
bag at
something.
CJI. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Exactly. So
Just like
uh,
basketball players go play in the Olympics, and they have pro, and then like
yeah, or you
you
go
have
to
the other
Europe and
offshoots of
get
the
some
Pro
money over
Bowls
there
in
to make
Europe,
some
and yeah,
money during, yeah,
yep,
exactly. You know,
yep.
there's a lot of
Other
different
circuits, other abilities, like it opens up all kinds of doors in the sport aspect as well as in the
developmental
entertainment.
leagues and stuff like that
Yeah,
may
yeah.
be able to pop up and things of sorts. Um, so yeah, lots of positives I think from it. A new thing, which is gonna be, I mean, honestly, for me, it's gonna probably be good that it's gonna be new again, because that kind of whatever keeps me sharp. If I fall into too much of a routine or whatever, I might get lax. So switching it up is gonna keep me just like focused in on it, and having a week to prepare for each week is gonna be easy for me too, because I can make sure I have
You can make your
everything, the
notes, and
notes,
you
and I can
can
practice, how to
study up
say
on
stuff.
people. Yeah,
Yeah, and just what to say, how to say the names, and like really just practice, because
yeah.
I try to do that before the season, but sometimes I get there and somebody else say their name is different,
Everything changes as
and
soon as you
yeah,
walk
it's
through
like,
the
oh
door.
shoot,
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
completely different like
yeah,
cadence or
yeah.
whatever. So shoot. So yeah, there's just a lot that goes into the thing for that too. And so yeah, I'm excited for that. And I know you got a hard out here coming up pretty soon.
We got like 15 minutes,
Right.
and
So then I got a new segment. Will you want to do a new segment with
oh,
me?
you got a new segment prepared?
Do you want to play?
Yeah, I'm proud of you for following through.
Okay. Yep. We talked about this. And I that's what I said. This was kind of why I was mad when it wasn't loading up early. I was like, man, I don't know if I'm gonna get to do this segment, because we may just end up ranting through the whole time. Uh okay.
Okay,
So new segment, and we may do this more or may not. I don't know, but I thought it would be funny to me, since Isaac has now basically, relocated to the, you know,
the beautiful green
beautiful.
screen
I'm sorry, I
behind
just
me.
zoned out looking at the beach, looking,
That's
you know, since he moved to Mexico. All right, so we're gonna do real or fake Mexican history.
okay.
Okay, I'm gonna give you two things, and you got to tell me which one is real and which one is fake.
Okay.
Okay, so the ancient Mesoamericans played a ball game called something I can't pronounce. Starts with an O, uh, and the loser of this game got sacrificed. Okay.
Okay.
And then number two is the Olmecs used rubber balls for warfare drills.
Okay.
Is Are either of these true? Are both true? Or are what? What do you think?
The first one I know is definitely true.
So you think they played a ball game that we can't pronounce, because uh and the loser got sacrificed? You believe that's true?
That's true.
Did you just look that up?
No, I was trying to look up the pronunciation, but
Are you talking to
I
somebody over your
wasn't quick
shoulder?
enough. No, definitely not.
Are your friends? I think you're
There's
cheating.
there's nobody around me, and I am answering honestly because I actually visited the uh trying to remember the name of it, but it's their Natural Science and History Museum in Mexico City, and it actually takes multiple days to walk through the whole thing. And I walked through the whole thing, and I stood in front of the big circular thing that everybody calls the doomsday calendar. It's not a calendar, by the way. Um, and I actually went in one of those ball courts and like stood in it and read about it, and they were talking about the fact that like all that's true, and a lot of that history is yeah, they killed a lot of people.
Oyamalisti. Oyamalisti. Long O sound. Ya, ma, lees, and the TLI is a tricky ending, according to Chat GPT.
Omalalisti or Talichi. Yeah, but
pronounced Oyama Leasley.
Yeah.
Let me know if you need any.
Boom. I nailed it.
I
And
got
the
that
number.
information.
Oh
You gotta be nice. Are you nice to your AI?
no,
What?
they
They
say
come up for you.
it wastes energy. It's
Who?
actually more expensive. It's more expensive in the energy cost when you say thank you, please, and thank you to your Chat GPT.
See, that's what they want y'all to believe. There aren't. That's part of that mind control stuff. They're trying to just make y'all less be around. Hey, Brandon, if you're still in there, are you nice to your chat? Are you nice to your AI person?
I'm nice to it when I'm gentle with it when I need to be, and I'm firm with it when I need to be.
Well, I mean, yeah, you gotta direct it
Yeah,
sometimes, right? But
bro, it'll just straight up make some stuff up. Sometimes you got to
yeah,
call it out.
right.
You're like, hey,
Well,
you don't know that.
right. No, you're right. My bad. I wasn't thinking clearly.
It's like an unruly teenager.
And then that is correct. So that's good. I gotta find some different facts for that one. And so then did the Olmecs use rubber balls for warfare drills?
I know that they used rubber balls and stuff in that way. I don't know if they ever used them for like warfare drills or whatever. And uh but I do feel like that they had like blunted items that they used to like basically simulate it so that they could learn how to fight.
Hmm. So true or false?
I'm gonna go with false.
Okay, that's false. Actually,
Yeah, yeah,
that's actually false.
yeah.
So
Did you make that up or
good
did
job.
ChatGPT make
No,
it
I got them from ChatGPT. Yes,
up? Okay.
I found two that were very similar, and I wanted to see
To get them
which
as
one.
close as you could. Well,
Yeah,
look,
you
I
know,
100%,
standardized testing, right? Works.
100%. You see,
So
I paid
well,
attention in
look, he's
class.
good. He's good. I told y'all he's smarter than y'all thought.
That was a fun segment. I need to make an intro for it. I'll start.
Yeah.
We'll start having
Right.
that ready.
There we go. There we go. I'll find more and more stuff. I'll get some deeper, more obscure facts. I think I should have thought that you would be closer enough to go get that kind of information at least.
I mean, I've got a pyramid literally like that way, not far.
I had questions about pyramids and stuff, but I was like, nah, he's definitely gotten into the pyramid stuff down there to at least a surface level degree. We're gonna have to go deep if we're gonna try to
We're gonna
dig
have to
deep
dig
on
deep
those.
on that one.
So yeah, I think we'll save the pyramid ones for like a higher degree of understanding.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, and so you did, I guess, really quick on this
yeah.
too.
We can touch back on that.
The Cancun,
Cancun Open.
the way that you spelled that was not just to be funny.
No,
That is,
yeah,
did we say that last week?
yeah. We were talking about that last week. Is that Cancun, like KAANKUN, is the Mayan way that they spelled Cancun, and Cancun means snake's nest, which
Mm.
there were like tons of snakes, and then there's like the jokes they make about now is that like, well, the snakes turned into humans, but like
Is this snakes like the Irish snakes from like well
that was where my head went when I first heard this story. Is that, but like it's, I mean, we're in the jungle on the
mm,
beach, and there was no city here until like the 60s or the 50s, and they made a decision back then that they were going to start making like
mm,
they were like, this is a beautiful place, so we need to capitalize that, as many countries do, and like our country and different states do, as far as like the tourism. That's a massive industry. And so back then they were like, we need to make some spots that are our country's like flagship spots, and this was one of them. And they started with two guys that were at Harvard. They modeled the whole city design after like a bunch of different European cities. So you have
mm,
like a bunch of roundabouts, and like the system was figured out. And then somewhere through that system, like as they were setting it up, somebody figured out, hey, if we just like square everything off in squares and sell it off, we'll make a whole lot of money. And so they did the like more like American thing, as far as they like squared everything off and like sold all the plots off, and like plots. So that's why you have like really good like road system set up that then just got broken up by like really weird like side roads because they just like squared it all off. So capitalism came in and just like like move things around. But like it's a really interesting city with a lot of history that like kind of like recent and ancient, and so like it's super like a fascinating place to be. But
How you feel about your event?
huh?
How do you feel about your event?
The event went really well. The Cancun Open, we weren't really sure what to expect, like how many people were going to sign up, and so we were kind of like trying to figure out how we were going to run the brackets and get through. We ended up having, I think, like at the end of the day, I think we had 22 that were on the list that were in the like whole bracket or the whole sign up, and then we had 3 brackets that were there was 2 4-man brackets, and then one, I think they had 9 or 10. They had 10 in that bracket, and then we had 2 like single off brackets that had 2 people in them. Okay. And we ran PGF rule set, like round robins. Then the one that was the 10, we limited it to 4 matches just for time, because if everybody ran, that's like 38 matches by itself. But we ended up running them with 18 matches, and when they ran through, everybody ran. They all got 4. The other brackets all touched each other, like it was a true round robin, and we tallied up the points as we went along. And we never once had to go into overtime. Everybody was like shooting in, and we were going to the finals. Everybody got through, and we had one playoff that we had to do for the second place in the under 75 kilogram or under 85 kilograms. And it was really good. It's on the PGF World YouTube channel to rewatch the whole thing, and there's clips coming out. And I mean, it, like I said, we got to see the PGF rule set kind of like in its true form, and like these guys were super excited about that. I was going to say earlier is that when we're going to these formats where it's like, okay, instead of coming in and just performing once, and if you perform well, you might get to perform 4 times. You get the opportunity as a competitor of like, no, you're guaranteed that you're going to touch everybody in this room, and you're going to get to run it. And as competitors, like I've seen every single time we've suggested this, they light up. They're like, oh man, you mean I get to like just go? And you're like, yeah. And so you get to see a lot more of them attempting to do their art and do their thing, because they're safe in the fact that like you're not going to just get one and done. And it creates a lot more of a gamification and a fun thing. And I think we've figured out the formula. Like I think that like one day tournaments, it's just like you can run a 8-man to 16-man bracket and get through it in 3.5 hours, 4 hours, and have like nonstop action. Like you don't start getting tired. Nobody starts getting tired and bored until like the last 10 minutes. And we're like, and then everybody's just ready to get in and get done and like see who wins. But like it's super exciting. It was fun. The grappling down here is phenomenal, and yeah, like it was a super fun one. If anybody hadn't seen it, go check it out on the PGF World YouTube.
Any plans to do it again?
Yeah, it's the winners of those brackets got their golden ticket, like their Willy Wonka golden ticket to go to Casa Babylonia. And we're gonna be out there sometime in the fall. I believe October is the rumor, is that we're gonna be doing a full PGF rules, either 8 or 16-man bracket. I think we're going with 8-man bracket, and it's gonna be the Johnny Hernandez Invitational 2. And we're gonna have the whole crew out there. We're gonna run it, and it's gonna be a pretty fun time.
Nice. Yeah, I'm gonna try to make that. I'm gonna try to get out there for that.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be a good time.
It's gonna be good. But you got anything you want to plug to the people before we close out, Steven?
Just if anybody's local watching, I guess we're doing a seminar here May 31st with PGF champion Ryan Aiken, the homie. I realize, I think we talked about it a little bit. I don't know if it's on air or off air or whatever, but just like I realize kind of some of these younger guys really look up to Ryan a lot as a guy in the system, or especially locally, who's done it,
who's made it. Yeah, he's one of the guys who's out there.
And so, not that I didn't or whatever it is like that, I just kind of didn't consider maybe how much people were looking at that stuff that way. And so when I realized that, I was like, oh yeah, I could get him, I can get him to come down here, guys, if y'all want that, wouldn't be any problem. So yeah, it's also kind of right there. It is basically the 5-year anniversary. That's June 1st. So probably just be hanging out a little bit afterwards, chatting, maybe some promotions. I don't know. I'm sure there'll be some, but I don't know specifically what's what with all that stuff. But mostly just a good time, trying to fellowship and stuff like that. Coming up on this 5-year thing, we talked about it a lot. It's kind of crazy to be
That's
at this
making it,
point
dog.
already.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something, right? It's definitely
Yeah.
something, and I don't mean that dismissively. Like it's been a lot of different things, and it's
Yeah.
just crazy to kind of say that looking back, and everything's like a new day every day still, and it's the same old thing a lot of the time though too, so it's just
Yeah.
kind of falling into that pattern, and it's life. It's good though. It's a good, good problems to have and things like that. That's the thing. Is like if it was the other side, then be a much different kind of conversation. It's like the a lot of the struggles have been just because of too much
Growing pains.
Yeah, like that's the thing. It's like things are going
Yeah.
really well. It's like,
Yeah.
and then it's like, oh,
Yeah.
what wasn't prepared for this level of like wellness.
Here's my closing thoughts is that I lost this thought earlier is that one of the biggest things I've learned in the success of like what we're going through and like what we're going and in this growth is that like success isn't what you think it looks like. Is that the initial part of success just means more work.
Mhm.
Is that as soon as somebody's like, oh, good job, do it again. You're like, wait, what? That was my best.
Yeah.
So you have to be prepared to do your best and then improve on your best each time
Always.
because it just means more work. People think that like success is this $1 million like payday that just falls in your lap. And the more people that I meet that have had those paydays and that have had those like things in their life, it doesn't just plop in your lap. And if it does plop in your lap, it comes at some very, very high cost. And so like I've learned how to do that, but I got to cut out of here. I got some other meetings to go do stuff and do things, but love you, dog. Love the people. Glad everybody could make it.
Glad we made it for sure. Much love.
For sure.